Hey everybody, I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. Hello, Barbie. Chase the Hate, my brother. How are you? Rhonda, awakened by the looking glass. Good to see you. Katrina, Kristen, Mile High Hokey. Good to see you. One with Cats. Hello, Shell. Joanne Rice. Glad you're here. Shannon Smith, Fancy Nancy. Good to have you. Snot Face. Fancy Nancy's Jersey girl. Sarah from Boston. Good to see you. Lacey, glad you're here. Tree Hugging Buddhist, Maggot, Michael J., Lori Hart, Huckleberry, Haystacks, Calhoun. And let's see, are we forgetting anybody? Allison Metcalf Palumbo. And I think I saw there's a typical Paul. Jennifer Garvey, the News Nut, Dirty Mouse. I think we got basically everybody. If I missed you, I really apologize. Today is today I'm going to talk about connection. I'm going to talk about the idea, the pipe dream, right? The pipe dream that was this the lifeboat. Right. It was it's a very simple concept, in all honesty. And the concept went something like this. There are just not enough places where somebody can go and be open and honest and not feel like people are staring at them while that's done. Mark Wages and I, in the very beginning of the lifeboat, were discussing different programs that we had been in, 12-step stuff, RDAP, where you're in prison, sort of locked up, but in rehab, residential drug and alcohol treatment in prison, RDAP. We just started to discuss a lot of the different things that we had seen and lived through and witnessed, and a lot of people struggle really hard with having people look at them, right? Under the best of circumstances, with a buzz on. Most people don't want to get up and talk. And it is kind of part of the process if you're going to do the 12-step stuff, huh? You're probably going to have to at least, there's going to be some interaction. There's going to be some social interaction. And very often, people start doing dope or booze in the first place to overcome that feeling, right? So it didn't make a lot of sense to us. And I feel like there's a lot of people that thank you, Tina. Thank you. It means the world to me. It really does. So the idea of a meeting, it's, you can't really call it a meeting. What we do is not a meeting, right? I mean, and to be sure, I'm trying to be somewhat entertaining, because if I'm not, I can't imagine that we'll stay, getting many views. Yeah, you gotta put out something that people want to watch, and that's kind of hard if you're trying to just kind of do a straight meeting. And there is also the fact that there are other things that I definitely feel an attachment to, but I started to realize that it wasn't about a meeting, and it wasn't about any of the crap. What it really was about was people being able to just come to some place and say, I'm having a bad day, or I feel like getting high. Anything. Today's a day I would rather crawl inside a spoon, right, with a syringe. And no one's going to judge you for that. And they're not going to they're going to do everything within their power to at least try to help you or talk you off the ledge. This morning, I'm sure that I hurt someone this morning, which was not my intention in any way. I was, if you missed this morning, just be happy you did. But I was shocked by something that someone said, and I let it be known that I was shocked by something that someone said. And I left, but I heard afterwards that people were not particularly nice to this person, and that was not my goal at all. At all. I never want the crew turning on someone on the crew. I really don't. And good Lord, man, if I cause that to happen, I am an idiot. All right, for real. If I cause that to happen, you understand? How much I don't want that to happen. Huh? How much it really goes. God help us, man. So, yeah. So here's what it comes down to. The concept was this connection. It's really all you need. You need the ability to come together and have somebody that says, you know what, I care. All right. Doesn't really much matter. As long as you feel that connection, then really good things start to happen. And it really it jumps off the page and it becomes evident. And you see it in other places, right? You see it in other channels, and you see it with people that don't give a rat's backside about sobriety or any such thing. But if they're consistently going live, then what happens is that people who traditionally are missing out on connection begin to make friends in this virtual environment that we live in, right? Because right now we're in a virtual environment. There are other people out there creating content at the exact same time, right? This is what we do. But what we do here is a little different, because the idea is, yes, we would kind of like to entertain you. But if you've been here for any length of time, you've probably watched us yank the e-brake and pull the boat over because someone starts, you know, it's painful. I'm sure that pretty much sums it up, right? No one should be attacked, right, for this. It's not something that I assure you, it's not something that I ever want to have happen. But let's do something right now and see if we can't make this a little easier on all parties, huh? I got an idea. You can tell me what you think. All right, here's the idea. If you vote for Trump in the last election, I want you to assume that I voted for Biden. You hear me? And if you voted for Biden in the last election, I want you to assume that I voted for Trump. In fact, I want you to assume on either side that I'm campaigning for him, right? Not just voting for him. Whatever your guy is, I want you to assume I'm campaigning for the opposite, right? And that starts with that who's running for president crap. And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to go right to gun control. So if you're one of those people that thinks no one has a right to own a gun, I want you to know I am a Second Amendment advocate and I got an NRA hat. Now, you got an NRA hat. I want you to know that the gun thing makes me sick and we got to do something. And we need to yank these things off the street and get them out of your hands if I got to pry them from your cold, dead fingers. All right. Abortion, go the same route, right? Go the same route. Pick it. I don't care what side you pick. I want you knowing I'm the opposite of every single damn thing you think. You got an opinion. You got something you really dig. I'm the opposite. That's what I want you to think. From right now forward, I hope you're getting this. I don't care what your belief is. I want you to know my belief is the exact opposite and as virulently as I can be. Now, you hate me for that? Get off. Hit the road. You hate me for loving Biden? Get off the boat. Or if you hate me for loving Trump, get off the boat. You hate me for being pro-life? Get off the boat. You hate me for being pro-choice? Get off the boat. If you hate me for an opinion, get off. Leave. You are allowed to have any opinion you want here. You're not allowed to be mean, right? You understand what I'm saying, though? I'm not trying to hash politics with anybody here right now, I assure you. And I'm not trying to debate which party did what or what. The sad thing is this: I got one friggin' issue that I've been yelling about since I started the boat. Right? I don't care about anything else. There's one issue that I care about, and I promise I'm going to vote for the person that does a better job on it, and that party. And you know what? I'm probably going to yell about it. There's nobody else out there that's doing it. You hear me? There's no one else out there that's doing it. So if it's going to cause you to hate me, you may as well bail now. Honest to God. It's not a political channel, but for the love of God, politics are going to transact drugs all over the place, right? Seriously. Government agencies have been involved in putting dope on our streets since Vietnam at a minimum, right? So this is something that, Johnny Scoville, for the record, is who I voted for in the last election. I may have said something this morning to make a point, but I have been very, very open from Jump Street, who I voted for in the last election. I probably said it 50 times already on film. This morning, I said what I said to do exactly what I just did right now, to take the opposite. I don't care what yours is. I'm the opposite. And if that's too much, then this isn't the place for you. Right? Pretty simple. Because the stuff that I want to talk about should transcend all of this crap, man. It really should. It should transcend all of this crap. And the conversation that went squirrely this morning was because I said, I got crap yesterday after talking about authors. People took shots at me and said, you're a dirtbag for liking this author, right? What the hell has happened? I mean, look, you know what? All BS aside, I know exactly what's happened. We've talked about it. In fact, you want to read a great book that tells you exactly when it happened. Phenomenal book, right? When we got divided into red and blue nation, because before that, it didn't exist. We didn't do this crap. There's a great book on it. This was not an accident. This was by design. God, it makes marketing easy, doesn't it? I mean, sure as hell. You know exactly what to run for ads on Fox if you're on Fox, or on CNN if you're on CNN, right? Because you know that everybody there is just there to listen to exactly what you're saying, right? I mean, they don't want you to deviate a lick from your script. They just want to hear something that's going to make them feel warm and fuzzy, right? The hell with truth or anything else, man. For real. On both sides. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Oh, you just came in. What did I miss? Oh. I'm pretty sure today was intentional. But I don't think that the person did it to be cruel. I think the person did it because the person needed attention. All of the comments that the person put into the chat today were screaming for attention. And if I was reading those things in slow time instead of real time, I would have seen that. And I probably would have dealt with that situation completely different than I did. The comments got progressively more unusual, right? Because this individual wanted to be the center of attention. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, right? Sometimes we all need that. I was not paying much attention. It's hard. It's really hard when the chat's cooking. It really is. It's very, very difficult to keep up when the chat's moving fast. Not an excuse, but it's a fact. If we get 16 or 1700 comments over the course of that 45 minutes or whatever that we had a chat up, it's difficult. But going back and reading it afterwards, it was really, really obvious. It was really, really obvious. And you're going to love both of those books, for the record. Mischief Managed. You're going to love both of those books. And it doesn't really matter. I don't know which one I would tell you to. I don't know that I would that I could recommend one versus the other, man. I don't really know that I could. You know, I try to explain this to my kid because you realize that like my kid's got 0 point of reference at all in the world. 0 point of reference because this is it's a world that I didn't grow up in this puppy, you know. This is not the world that we knew. Why, thank you, Huckleberry Calhoun. Yeah, that is it is a suggestion to be sure. Clips. It is a suggestion to be sure. My daughter has never seen a world where a Democrat and a Republican can have a conversation. Fact. When I tell her stories about growing up and the fact that if we had a Christmas party or a dinner party or we had a barbecue, that the room was probably 50-50. Yeah. And it just wasn't an issue. I mean, they might have busted each other's chops a little bit, but it was a non-issue. And you know what? Every other one, right? Every other thing. If somebody, you know, debating used to be fun. You could disagree with someone. You could have a conversation, right? We don't like that anymore. And literally, my daughter's never seen that world. Doesn't understand that there was a world where people who disagreed on politics could have dinner together. Can you imagine? Apparently, they don't want it that way anymore, right? Apparently, they don't want it that way anymore. And we're giving it to them. We're falling right into it. Question. Can felons not vote after they have served their time? Surely, if you have served your time, you should get your human rights back and be able to vote on things like the prison service. It's a great question. I can vote, but I couldn't for a period of time. Once I got out of prison, I had to in the convict lexicon, the convict calls it killing your paper, and what it means is that your service to the government is done. When you leave federal prison, you're still in federal prison. This is how it is explained to you, by the way, on the way out the door. You're still in prison. You're still our property. We're going to let you go, but you're still our property. So there's a list of crap that you have to do. And one of them is you have no Fourth Amendment rights. So if a guy pulls over and says, get out of the car, I'm going to search this, right? We don't have Fourth Amendment rights. There is no such thing as an illegal search and seizure on a convict. So after that period of time is over, and for me, it was 3 years. Now, because everything happened right in my life, and because I didn't miss any drug tests or fail any drug tests, and because the judge could go online and look at the lifeboat, I was able to kill my paper in a year and a half. And after I got that letter that said, this is it, you're done, now my rights to vote are restored. Not all of my rights will be restored. There are certain things I'm never going to be able to do again, but I can vote. That is a right that I have back now. ZW, thoughts and prayers for ZW. Number one here, please. And ZW, text the people in your 5 and let them know what's going on, huh? Pass the tinfoil hats. I have them. I do have a tinfoil hat. It's actually pretty cool. Why? That's a very cool thing, Rolling Stone. You know something? I was talking to a very, very old man in prison who said to me, man, why would you read fiction in prison? And I was like, to get my head out of here. You know what I mean? Like I can go with James Bond on whatever adventure he's doing, you know? And he was like, man, this is an opportunity for you to, to better yourself on their dime, read nonfiction. And I took it to heart. I read a lot of nonfiction. I read a lot of biographies. I really kind of got into that. Look, that's incredible. I love that. Said she was sitting on a plane next to somebody that was very much pro-gun. She was very much anti-gun, and the two of them were able to have a pleasant conversation. Yeah, the good old days. That kind of crap actually used to happen, right? It did. It's something that used to happen, and unfortunately, unfortunately, it's possible to run off people who need help, right? Because I didn't vote for the right person. And that's horrific. I'm sorry it is. Now, if they walk out the door, it's not my responsibility. And if they go out no D, it's not my responsibility. But it doesn't make you feel any better. It really doesn't. It's not when you know people are disappearing because of something you said, it messes your head up. It does. And I'll tell you what, it also makes you want to you sit people. This may come as a shock to you, but I don't have a script in front of me. Right? We come out here and we wing it. And it makes you very, very careful about the things that you say, because we live in a world now that, good Lord in heaven, man, drop the wrong word, right? You drop the wrong word, man, they will remove you from the earth. You're allowed to live. You're just not allowed to ever have a voice. Right? I think the term's canceling. People do get heated, Zelda. It's sad, isn't it? I mean, honestly, it's sad. That's kind of funny. Queen of Awkwardness says, my ex-husband and I were polar opposites on everything, but that's not why he's my ex-husband. I'm always shocked when I see people like James Carville and his wife. I mean, you talk about, right? Or Kellyanne Conway and her husband. Like those relationships where you just go, how in hell does that work? Zelda says, I would love to discuss issues with someone of the opposite opinion so I can see things through their eyes. But people get so heated these days. It is how you learn, right? It is how you learn. And hearing something from the other side, and maybe articulated with passion, but not volume, right? Passion's a good thing, right? Linda Lou says, I'm a Canadian and I get worked up about American politics. Yeah, this is a slightly different Peterson case. The case that Rabbit is looking at is the Peterson who killed his wife right around the holidays, and they're trying to get him a new trial. But my understanding is the Innocence Project has been looking at this for a while. So maybe they're picking that up. They've been talking about it for a really, really long time. But that is Scott Peterson. The one that I knew, sadly, is Drew Peterson. The CNS, man, try to stay warm, please. Sounds awful. The French Revolution is all over, at least last time I looked. Isn't that something? That's very, very unusual. Want to know something interesting? I learned as a linguist, American and Christian are synonymous in most of the Middle East. Well, I'll be damned. Isn't that something? It's a fairly large assumption on their part, but it probably makes sense. At least, yeah. I do that just for Johnny. He really bums out when I drink water out of this. It does make an awful sound. I'll give him that. Every time that you go into a bank, they're going to give you a dye pack. It isn't like the ones that I had seen in the movies that look like an aerosol can. The ones that I saw were always not much bigger than like a $1 coin, like a silver dollar, maybe a little bit thicker, and they would punch out the faces on a stack of 50 or $100 bills. And then the die pack goes inside that. So, even if you say just put the money up on the counter, right? Because you don't say fill the bag. If you say fill the bag, they can put whatever they want in it, right? That would be bad. So if you just say put the money up on the counter and you start grabbing the money, you need to be able to identify that die pack before you leave the building. It is a proximity sensor of some sort. So when it gets far enough away from the bank, it goes bang. And I knew a dude that one of the bigger ones, like back in the old days when they did have the aerosol kind of things, he was on the news riding away from a bank on a motorcycle with like a red streamer coming out of his leather jacket, and it burnt him horrifically. Like he still has terrible, terrible scars from it. Apparently they used to put out a lot of heat when they would go off, but the ones that I saw were discs, and you could bend a stack of hundreds or a stack of 50s or whatever, they'll bend. But if there's a metal disc in the middle of it, it won't bend, right? And the old joke is that if it doesn't bend, then it doesn't spend, and you leave that in the bank. If you watch Point Break, when the one time he shoots the gun inside the bank, he's killing a die pack. The guy takes it, throws it up in the air, and he shoots the die pack out of the air. But that's what they were doing, was identifying it, and it's in a stack of money usually. At least now it is. I don't know what it was back in the day. In America, you can't vote if you're a felon. Here in Portugal, even if you're in prison, wow, no one can take away your right to vote. Although it's an early vote. As a convicted felon, until you are off probation, until you're off paper, and you are completely, your service to the federal government is done, you can't vote. Now I can vote. There are other, like I said, that's one of the rights that you get back. My gun rights, obviously, are gone forever. Now, I know someone's going to say, you can get back your gun rights in 7 years. There are people who can get back their gun rights in 7 years. They're not bank robbers, right? On paper, that's just going to look, the two things are going to look related. I never used a weapon, but on paper, they're going to look related, and no one would ever want that. And you know what? I'm not too hung up on it. I don't much care. I wasn't ever a gun guy anyway, really. So not too tripped out about the fact that I don't have that right. I believe this in so many different things. This is absolutely the truth, right? There are so many things that do not have a wrong or a right per se, right? They really don't. It's one of those situations that it really just comes down to opinion, what one person believes versus what someone else believes. However, there are things that are just stone cold facts too, and they tend to cause really big arguments because we have hit a day and age where I think the term is truthy. Have you heard this? Truthy? Truthy is something that is just so true that facts will not make it otherwise. And there's a lot of that goes on. There is a lot of that goes on. And if you're a person who spends a decent amount of time like studying or reading up on things, people come out and say things that are just so patently absurd, and you just have to go, okay. But it's one of the reasons that there are certain things I just will not talk about because I know where it's going to go. And I don't say I'm not talking about this. I'll just I'll do everything within my power to steer the conversation away from it because it's just, I'm not trying to make anybody uncomfortable. I'm really not. Like, I'm going out of my way to try to keep people happy. Like I really something that I would like to keep going. Yeah. Too much cognitive dissonance. Yeah. Yeah. It, yeah, William, imagine how I feel, brother. Imagine how I feel. Unfortunately, it really has to get dealt with. It does. And, it's really, I get people will send me messages. We had something happen, and I lost a couple of hundred people, and I don't even remember who did it, but somebody, someone sent the message and said, "It's 1%, right? It's 1% of your audience." In my head, it's 200 people that might feel like that gentleman that actually showed up here that wanted to maybe try to do something that was going to be moving them forward in life, right? And so, yeah, it's a suck situation, is what it is. Have I seen Inside the World's Worst Prisons with Raphael Rowe? I don't know that name. I have watched shows very similar to what you're talking about. The name doesn't ring a bell, right? Inside the World's Worst Prisons, but I have watched things. I've watched similar things, and I'm always blown away at just how ugly some of the prisons in other countries. I know we have a reputation of having really horrific prisons in the U.S., but like some of the ones in South America that I saw are just like they bring the food in and drop it off, and the fellas need to decide who's going to eat and who's not. Like that's some frightening stuff. Like for real, those prisons look like, good Lord, man. But prisons are not intended to be to be nice. Right? Tommy, can I shoot a gun legally? No, I cannot. No, I cannot. No, I cannot. Yeah, there are my understanding is that if I pick that thing up, when it's in my hand, it's in my possession, and that can't ever happen. That is my understanding. But I probably wouldn't risk that. If the Fed said to me, "Now you're good, you can go do that," I probably still wouldn't. It's ugly. Jesse, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you, right? I agree with you. And I'd be happier than hell to sit here and tell you my entire political view on every single thing that I believe in. I would be more than happy. Start with religion and go all the way down. You know what will happen by tomorrow morning? Huh? We will lose thousands of people. And some of them may need help. So yeah, politics suck. They absolutely suck. It would be really cool if we do what we can to try to keep it a place that we just. It's a thought. It's a thought. Yeah. I think all of us aren't for everybody, but a few may trickle off, and that's okay. We will welcome the new ones that will come. They'll find you. I am of the firm belief that is kind of how it goes down. It's a bit of a bummer. It really is. I would like for this not to be something, right? I would like for this not to be something. I would like for the concept of sobriety to be something that is so important that no one would ever give a rat's can, right? I mean, imagine getting wheeled into an emergency room with a sucking chest wound from a gunshot. Right? You're gonna ask the person that's wheeling you in, "Hey, can you break down everything you believe in here real quick before you start cutting on my chest?" No, you're gonna say, "Please tell me this cat is good at what he does, right? Or what she does. Please tell me this doctor's got his or her you know what together." That's the theory, right? That should be the only thing you're caring about. And in a peer support group, that's kind of the same theory. It'd be really great if everybody here just, and that's what we're going to start doing, because I'm going to bounce people out. There's not going to be discussion, because it's one of those things that it's so easy to see stuff get out of control fast. Really, it is. It's a hard thing to do. Again, there's no script, there's no net. And you get people that just will continue to fire questions. And as a host, eventually you go, you know what, I'm going to say something. And it never works out well. It really doesn't. It never works out well. And I would, we're going to do what we can to, and then the purpose of this show, with all due respect to anybody that's bummed out about it, the purpose of this show is so that there aren't going to be any friggin' apologies when we bounce people out, right? Who start, hey, Nick, I love you, man. Yeah, I'm just gonna start bouncing people, and I'm gonna start doing it. And there isn't gonna be any apology, right? That's what we're here to say. We're all gonna play nice, right? You can go and do whatever you want when you're not here. Do whatever you want when you're not here, right? And so I'm gonna get a free speech. Free speech doesn't take place in my living room, right? That's not where free speech takes place. Free speech takes place out in the public square, right? This here actually belongs to me, believe it or not. Right? You build this thing, they put your name on it. They actually cut checks and mail them to your house. This is, for better or worse, my backyard, right? And I love everybody here. I mean that. So let's just keep it friendly, huh? Zelda, you have such a phenomenal attitude. I swear to God, you just have such a great attitude. Free speech is a bit of a misnomer. I mean, in a lot of ways, it absolutely is. I probably do more of it than I should. Right? Honestly, I mean, the people I work for aren't real cool with it. Google's not a huge fan of people. Yeah. Jennifer, that pretty much sums it up, right? I'm not a big fan of anything that victimizes kids, right? The Church of Scientology most assuredly does, right? We know that. So we're not. That's something that we're going to fire back on. Oh, another one I really would like to cover, because believe it or not, I still keep getting these stupid. Let's go over something real quick. I got 5 emails today. I mean, 5 comments on the last Danny Masterson video that I did, right? They reported what happened to them, the Jane Does. All of them reported it when it happened. They didn't report it to the outside police when it happened, because that's not what happens in that cult. That is doctrine, right? So they did report it. So all of the idiots who say, why did it take so long? Look, man, it didn't, right? It didn't. One by one, no one can hear me. No one can hear me. Am I all right? Riley's Human says, I have to keep resubbing. I'm sorry to hear that. And I hear it from so many people every day, right? Thank you all. Appreciate you. Sorry, for a second, I thought we were out. Did we add a baby today? I don't know the answer to that yet. We have, I have not seen her here yet. Has anyone seen our girl? I do not think I've seen her in here yet. This, Nick, this is something that didn't come out like that. That isn't something that you could you're not going to get that definitively from the stuff that came out in trial. I don't think that there's anything in there that's a smoking gun in terms of Danny Masterson's wife, Bijou, knowing that he was drugging women. Now, outside of the court case, I know people who, in no uncertain terms, said that absolutely she knew what was going on. Doesn't mean she was cool with it. And I think it had it caused a lot of problems. But there have been, there have been a lot of people that have been very clear on that. And you got to know something. This is not, if it's very hard to really get an appreciation for just what a small ecosystem this is, right? You think, how many people, what are the odds? Everybody just seems to know this dude. Well, he was preying on people who signed a billion-year contract because he knew he could do whatever he wanted, right? He knew he could do whatever he wanted And these people were not going to go to the police. They were going to go to the police in-house, and then right, they could pay, which they did, right? $400,000 in one case, so that there would be money for holding on to the cans, counseling, because he knew that the Jane Doe's children were going to need counseling. The reason he knew that is he had been paying kids to torture them for all intents and purposes by saying horrific things about their mother. Yeah, he's an ace. And the reason all of this info is easy to get is, again, you understand, these people hang out with each other. They disconnect from the rest of the world. For the most part, they really keep to a very tight little circle. So it's amazing the number of people who know him. Masterson's wife was at the parties. How could she not know? I will tell you that I do not think for any even brief second that she did not know. In fact, as I said, everybody that I have spoken to within that community said, yeah. Yes, and see, you are absolutely correct. One of the Jane Does did, but all of them. What drives me nuts is the battle cry that what the ignorant believe is that X number of years later, out of the blue. But what really happened is when the Jane Does started to realize that they weren't the only person that had been victimized this way, I think that was really the end for him. It is a random thing, Dixie. Dixie says, I've been unsubbed to other channels, but not this one. I think it's just a random thing on all channels. It is a random thing. And according to my older brother, it has been going on forever, right? It's been going on as long as he's had a channel. So it's not, I don't think it's unique to the Lifeboat. I don't think it's unique to this time. Paint it black. We can see you. We can see you. I want to see you paint it, paint it, paint it, paint it black. Yeah. Yes, this is something I'm glad you said. I'm glad you said. Sadly, the cult of Scientology believes children are just adults in smaller bodies. You understand this concept, right? This is why this is just so unbelievably dangerous. 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds who train to then administer auditing sessions to adults. Good God, I cannot imagine picturing my life at 29, and I'm in there telling a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old about what's going on in my life at 29. That's child abuse, people. I mean, holy hell. If I was telling any child what was going on in my life at 29, that was child abuse. Good Lord. That's just not right. Rosemary said, I was unsubscribed today. Well, I hope you resubscribe. I hope everybody checks it. I hope everybody checks it. Cindy, have a good night. I love the song Paint It Black too, actually. And toss. No way. That's funny. We had a cash van delivery guy come into the local supermarket in freezing weather. Took a toss on the ice, and when the case landed on top of him, the die pack went off. That thing was loud. Wow. And then that cash is just very difficult to spend after that. It dyes the thing like more often than not, a very fluorescent pink or a very fluorescent orange. That's what, but ugly. Much older brother. That's right. Much older brother. Free hiking spirit. I'm really happy to hear that. Miss Dragon says they purge inactive channels now and then. They do. This is something that happens. If you have a channel, it happens a lot. When it does, it's one big chunk. Like it's normally not. You're not seeing it, take place constantly. If you're seeing it drop, then it's probably either people don't like you anymore, which is a possibility, or I've done something to make people angry, or it's just unsubscribing people, and it does happen. Just being me, good to see you. I don't know that any of us can. I don't know that any of us can imagine the trauma that the cult of Scientology children suffer, but I think all of us need to try. For real. Growing up in a place that wants to do everything within its power, right, to suck the emotion out of your life so that you don't see any of it. It's absolutely horrific. Yeah, Hubbard said a 12-year-old shouldn't flinch by being passionately kissed by an adult. Disgusting. And there's also a whole thing on touch. People, it's abuse. There's just not any other way to say it. It's abuse. And for a really long time, all of us, every single one of us, has been complacent in this. I'm sorry, we have. By not screaming about it. I'm guilty as hell. I was around this. I was never a Scientologist, but I was definitely around a lot of people that were Scientologists. And I should have been, I really should have been questioning. If you sent the question to the Captain Tommy email, yeah, that'll work. Normally, if you can send everything to sober@myyahoo.com, that's probably the best bet. But the book in the beginning that did your joke offend me, Davey? I didn't even hear the joke. Can you tell me it again so I don't have to go back and find it? Is it way back there? Yeah, I didn't see it. If you tell me again, I'll try not to be offended. Whatever it was, I promise you that didn't offend me because I didn't even know it. So I don't know the name of the book. We've been struggling with this for a long time, but someone is going to help me with the name of the book. It is a biography of Frank Lloyd Wright. But the name of the book is not just Frank Lloyd Wright. It's Frank Lloyd Wright and the something. Yeah. Somebody will put it up in the chat. I promise you it's going to come up. Someone here is going to do it. Thank you, Noise Opera. And I am going to be going through at the very end of this. I will be hitting all of the super chats. Yeah, Allison, I got to agree. Allison said I was passionately kissed by an adult when I was 12. It's gross and it's wrong. Yeah, it's criminal. Oh, you did a super chat. Yeah, Davey, I promise I will see it, and I don't think you. I'm really kind of hard to offend. I wouldn't worry about that. I think you're probably in good shape. Warren Jeff's in prison. That will put a smile on your face. It really will. And he's running that cult from inside, which is just, yeah, disgusting. Yeah, Andy, you're good. Good point. Good point. Disgusting. And this is your tax exempt cult. Yeah, this is tax exempt people, right? They're not even paying into the system. They're using tax-free dollars, right, to do this. MCon11, it's nice to see you too. I don't know that I've ever said hello to you, but welcome to the boat. Glad you're here. Debbie P, they really try, don't they? They really try. AB, boy, is that just... There's the name of the book. AB, that's just scary saying out loud, I'll be honest with you. That's a prison thing, right? You know that's the brand. That's that is the biggest of the white prison gangs, would be called AB. Yeah. I love documentaries. Had to pause the Warren Just one and take a break. It disturbed me so bad. You are the second person to say that verbatim to me. Another lady on the boat said the exact same thing. They were deep diving the stuff and said I had to take it off. None taken. Much cooler. You didn't offend me with that in the slightest, man. And I think that there's probably some pretty solid. It wouldn't be difficult to argue that point. To be sure. I think that I think theirs tends to be a little bit nastier. I know that there are people that would disagree with me on that, but I think theirs might be a little bit nastier. AB, yeah, that's the initials for the Aryan Brotherhood, which may or may not exist, and may or may not be the biggest prison gang in the white prison gang in the Bureau of Prisons. Refer to it as the Brand. Oh my God, Warren Jeffs has said, when I get out, Heavenly Sessions will resume. Thank God he's not getting out ever, right, Jennifer? And then the next one, right? The next one is going to be that psycho from Utah. And Hummingbird, I don't know what this boat would do without you. Is it Many Masks? No, the name of the book is I can't say that damn word. The T word, fellowship, right? And I've had you write it phonetically. I still can't get it. Don't know why. Maybe because I read the book 4 times and mispronounced it in my head every time I read it, but I'm screwed. So the Frank Lloyd Wright and the T Fellowship. That's the book. A lot of cool pictures. I think you'll really dig it. Miss Dragon, I am so sorry to hear that. Miss Dragon says, I wasn't, assaulted, but I'm not big on being touched because to be touched meant I was going to get a beating. You know what? Miss Dragon, I love you. I really do. I'm so sorry that happened to you. A 1 is our way of reaching out from wherever we are, Lillian, to try to put a hand on someone's shoulder, tell them that we care for them, tell them that we pray for them. Whatever your get down is, if somebody tells you something bad just happened to them in the real world and you go, oh, whatever you do at that point, that's number 1. That's what that is. And we're throwing that out for Miss Dragon. I'm a huge fan of hers. And if you've never been by her channel, you need to. Really, I love her content. It's just positive stuff. Really, really positive stuff. And has been a huge asset to this boat from the very first day that she stepped on, and I'm not exaggerating. One of those people that as soon as we got here, we were like, where the hell has she been? Like that was just home. Tall EA son. I'm gonna go with that T place. That's what we're gonna go with. Stay Sweet. I think it's the Mormon documentary. Very difficult to watch. Yes. I read a book too by a Mormon woman. It was one of the most disturbing. And I shouldn't have told you that because I won't remember the name of it, but I'll get it tomorrow. I'll bring it up. How's that? Kat says, The Fellowship, the untold story of Frank Lloyd Wright and the Fellowship. That's the one. That is the one. Joni Cummings, I like that. Touch only with consent. I like that. And of course, that is not possible until somebody gets to be 18, right? So, Rosemary, good Lord, I'm so sorry. And this is just, I wish that this was something that doesn't, that you don't hear constantly, but thoughts and prayers, for so many that just had those really awful youths. So sorry. Carantha says they use pink dye on rhino horns, ruins them for poachers. That's the coolest thing I have ever heard in my life. I'm not kidding you. That is the coolest thing I have ever heard in my life. That is a great idea. Can they not do that to everything else? Right? Can't we do that to you know pelts? Can we just maybe tie dye the? Oh man, I love that. I love that they're protecting them. It's so crazy to me that they want to take the horns for stupid reasons. I'm sorry, they grind that stuff up, and um, yeah. Your favorite author said it's okay if you mispronounce words because accents are sexy. Okay. And Hummingbird, your voice puts people to sleep. I want to tell you something. This is going to come out awful, and I don't mean it to, but you know who does that to me? And I love her content, but if I need to sleep, Trinity. Trinity has one of those voices that I just find so it's melodic. I just like I put her on, and if I'm even slightly tired, it's over. And I've told her that 100 times, so I know she's not bummed out by it. She gets a lot of views from me doing it, but I really I dig her stuff. She's really good at what she does. Total Jersey. See, that makes sense. Totally Jersey. If you Google the pronunciation, it will let me listen to it. Okay. Now, if you heard how badly they butchered the name of the street that I live on, you'd be like, no. I mean, they're really, really, some of those are just really bad. Queen of Awkwardness says, cults are my thing. Like true crime is Tommy's. Very cool. Very, very cool. They are fascinating. I will tell you that. They are absolutely fascinating. And I think that I find them fascinating because drugs do the same thing, right? They deliver in the beginning on a promise. And the promise is you're going to have it easier. You're going to live better. You're going to be able to relax. You're going to be able to come out of your shell. You're going to be able to do whatever, right? The drugs deliver in the beginning, just like a communication course or whatever it is in the beginning that just seems like you've got the answers. Nobody walks in the door and they're like, hey, how you doing? Xenu came from here. We're going to take your kids, right? It doesn't work like that. And I think one of the things that bums me out more than anything in the world is when people go, how could you be dumb enough? You know, man, you don't get it. I promise you, there's a reason that cults made it to that level. The ones that you can spot at a distance and go, wow, how stupid is that? They don't become cults. They crash and burn, right? But the ones that rise to prominence enough to buy that big ass building in the middle of Hollywood, right? That is a fairly prosperous, or was very, very prosperous cult. But boy, they're taking a beating right now, though, aren't they? Good Lord. Good Lord. Those poor families in that cult. He said everyone in his cult, Warren said, no one can have sex while he is in prison unless he says so. So families are being still blown up if they get pregnant. It's sick. Good Lord, man. Like now, how then? I mean, the fact that he still has that hold over his flock from in there, what does that tell you about just how gnarly the hold of that cult is? From Victor Hugo, the supreme happiness in life is the conviction that we are loved. I love that, Lenny. I really do. I love that. Um, I'm glad. I'm glad. I think everybody ought to have a list of people that should not be allowed anywhere near. Rick, I get it, man. I get it. And you know why they don't? Honestly, I'll even put that up there. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why they don't. Because number one, they'll get rid of you really quickly if you do. Right? I'm not even lying. Like if you're a content creator, you got the email, right? You got the memo. They've been very, very clear about what you will be allowed to say concerning any of that at the moment. However, I'm going to be talking about it on a different platform, and I'll give you guys a heads up before I do. All right. That's a genius thing to do. Honestly, that's a genius thing to do. I had a goat growing up, and my dad painted his horn orange during deer season because at a distance he looked like a deer. Makes all kinds of sense. Mischief Managed, are you ready? Trinity's channel is called Trinity Hi Ho. No, Trinity Red or Blue Pill Hi Ho Kermit the Frog here. That's the name of her channel. I know it's really difficult and a pain in the can to type in, and I told her that, but it's worth it in the long run. It's absolutely worth it in the long run because it's a great channel. But it is, yeah, that's the channel. Yeah, Trinity Red or Blue Pill Hi Ho Kermit the Frog here. Rosemary, I'm glad that they paid in the end. I really am. But I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're talking about it. You know what I mean? I really am. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're talking about it, because very often when something like that gets put away, it's put away, right? And then we think, we dealt with that, or I'm not going to look at that. I'm not going to talk about that. By the way, Zenwen just put up Trinity's link right there to Trinity Red or Blue Pill. Hi ho, Kermit the Frog. Yeah. Dirty Mouse says, "Oh, you are all still here." Well, some of us are still here. The there needs to be voices, and you know what? The power of the power of the voice, the power of the ability to convey the truth in whatever way you do it. Here you go. I knew nothing about Scientology really until South Park. How silly is that? Yeah. But how many people in this country saw that and went, wait a sec, what? This is really what they believe, right? Yeah, that was such, you know the damage that they did to the cult of Scientology? For real. Got any idea the damage that show did to them? Like that's what's killing them. That show was the beginning of really serious damage. I love Culture to Consciousness, for the record. I think it's a great channel. I've not ever worked with them, but I do like watching that. It's I dig the content. Wow. Paint It Black. I am so sorry to hear that. Andy, please be safe. All right, and please come back tomorrow. And I'm sorry that you're having a tough night. I get it. I really do. Thoughts and prayers with you. Oh, you know what? I had not seen the comment. Not sure if you saw my earlier comment. My eye doc said today my crappy vision isn't getting better. He doesn't want me driving much. I can only drive short, familiar routes. Thanks to whoever sent the ones. Thoughts and prayers to you, Miss Sunrise Dawn. I am sorry to hear that. Now, I will say this: the future is not set in stone, right? We don't know. We really don't. You may not believe if I were to tell you all of the really crazy things medically that I got crazy, awful news and then sort of pulled the nose back up kind of a thing. I'm not done throwing ones up for you, Miss Sunrise Dunn. Not ready to give up on this one just yet. So, but I'm glad that you're here. Say, Lady J says, as a Christian, I despise how much abuse takes place under the cover of religion. So glad it didn't cost me my faith. Others can't believe because of it. It's true. There are absolutely people who have had crises of faith because of the things that have happened within their religion or other religions, and that's horrific too, isn't it? It's sad that's one of the first thoughts that people have in their head when they come to that. I know that it's one of the great dividing issues on planet Earth, right? The greatest of all dividing issues, obviously. But for those that believe in nothing, great. I don't have a problem with you. And for those who believe in whatever you believe in, I personally do, right? But it's it really is one of those things where if everybody was just allowed to believe what they believed and no one ever busted anyone's chops for it, we would live on a better planet. You want to hear something disturbing? So when I got to federal prison, there was a dude in there. I walked in the front door, and the first person that I saw in this federal prison walked up and said, I've got, and he listed off like 4 drugs. And that's not particularly unique. The drug dealers usually come up to you and tell you what they got, right? But then he went to this, hey, how would you like to trade your soul for a bag of whatever drug you choose from his list? And I said, what? He's like, yeah, there's a contract. You sign it, and I'll give you a 50 bag of heroin. Do you want to sell your soul? I said, brother, I don't even want to rent my soul. You know what I mean? Like, no, I have no intention. But I knew people who walked up and were like, what difference does it make, dude? Ain't like any of that crap's real. I was like, knock yourself out. I'm not, I'm not doing any of that. This is something that is also important, right? This is something that is also important. I have there are times that I'm going to be talking about things, right? One of them is going to be this case with Ruby Frankie and all of that, right? The church in that one, it's got some dirt on their hands, right? There's some stuff in there. I've talked about it on here. Doesn't mean I'm bagging on people who believe what that faith believes. That's not what I'm bagging on. But if it comes out, right, that the powers that be are screwing up, it's tough, but we have to separate, right? Much Cooler says, for the members, that may be true, but this was the governing body that refused to turn over a list of more than 1,000 elders that they had covered up and just moved congregations. And he was referring to, I believe, the Jehovah's Witness is what he was referring to. And there are, it really is a fine line. And it's one of the things that offends people more than anything in the world. It's caused more wars than anything, right? Thank you, Zenwin. It's your sweetheart. What did they mean by sell your soul? They literally had a document that said you were selling your soul to this individual, lock, stock, and barrel. And the guy was very, very vocal about being what he called a Satanist. Now, whether or not, I don't know what his beliefs were because I wasn't going to sit down and talk to this idiot. But yeah, what he was into it. He was certainly spending a decent amount of money. You know what I mean? Like, I knew a bunch of people that signed those stupid contracts, man. But I don't know, that kind of stuff. That certainly wasn't going to happen to me. This chat is the first channel I have participated, so I am a chat newbie. Well, we'll be gentle. Been quiet here for quite a few months watching streams, though. What does the one signify? For all intents and purposes, it is whatever you believe. Some people say, I'll say a prayer for you. Some people say I'm sending positive thoughts. Some people have some rituals and stuff that they do. We've got some witches and some other people that whatever you believe, right? But it is a way for people to say, hey, man, I'm supporting you with what it is I believe in. Yeah. And if you believe in nothing, it's just saying, hey, I hope something good happens for you. That kind of a thing. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lisa from Jersey. Alrighty. Loving the one? Good, Barry. Glad that you are. And I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you found us. And at this point, people, I'm going to call it a day. But let's take a look at these, shall we? Liz Ferris. Thank you, Liz. Liz went through some tough time over the holidays. Lost her, I guess you would say, father-in-law. I don't know if they're officially married, but what would be the equivalent of father-in-law? It's just tough times. But Liz is great. Thank you, Liz. Nick, Noise Opera. Thank you, Nick. Nick's one of my favorite people. I honestly can't say enough cool things. Comment of the year. You need to get out your nipple clamps. I believe they're called clips, and tighten them so that we can lighten the mood. Thanks, Huckleberry Calhoun. Sadly, I left those at my other suit. Noise Opera, back in the saddle again. Thank you. And next time I might bring the clips. I think they're clips. I don't think they're clamps. I may have to check that. Noise Opera. Nick. This is the one you thought was going to offend me. I'm not offended. A shirtless pic would help change this, and it probably would have if I had known how to. I can't do that stuff. My son can. I don't know how to do any of that. I'm really not that. I'm not that technologically advanced, but Spanx Calhoun's good at it, and he got a real kick out of that the first time he did it. Zenwan, thank you, ZW, and the Noise Opera back again, turning someone into an ensign. Thank you. And Hummingbird, we love you. Because I don't know what I would do without this boat. It's just it's enough to make you cry. It really is. Thank you. Noise Opera, between you and Zenwen, the both of you. Thank you so much. Love the both of you. I really do. Prayers, positive thoughts, and much love to all that needs them. You know what? One of the people that needs them is Zenwen. So thoughts and prayers for my girl. And didn't know that, but now I do. So we'll get this figured out. And thank you so much, Lisa from Jersey. I really appreciate you. I really do. And Rosemary. Thank you, Rosemary. We love you. Thank you so much. That's huge. And Painted Black, I am so grateful that you are here. Well, we're glad that you're here too. All of you. Rosemary, Painted Black, all of you. It never ceases to amaze me, people. It really does. I'm never going to get used to this as a concept. It's one of the most amazing things in the world to me. That I get to hang out with you guys, and it really is something, It is something. This right here is a squirrel in a basket. Love to all. Tommy, get my name right. So is it Rosemary? I was married to a Rosemary, so this is a problem, right? My first wife's name was Rosemary. I'm guessing Rosemary. I'm sorry. Kat, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I honestly do. And I have a thing for cats. I don't know if you know this. Absolutely. Absolutely you can. That is for Lisa's daughter's best friend. Absolutely. If I can, there we go. There you go. There you go. Nothing. I'm telling you, people, this is not really my strong suit. On that note, I really am out of here. All right, we will see you guys on the next one. I'm Captain Tommy. Really appreciate you. I mean that. Bye-bye, everybody. Good night.